Conversations. I'm your host, Larry W. Robinson. This conversation is powered by GospelUpdates.com as well as Houston Gospel Events mobile app. Download it today. My guest, the one and only Tina Nelms Boson. She's a psalmist, a pianist, a songwriter, as well as a worship leader with over 20 years of experience leading worship. That is amazing.
Thank you.
My God. From Houston, Texas. Additionally, she is an HR leader, When Women talk show host, co-author, as well as a licensed Christian counselor. But one thing I love about it is she is the first lady and co-pastor, or just first lady?
Just first
All right,
lady.
I don't want to get in trouble because some of them do.
That's it.
Minister of music of the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church.
Yes.
Well, Pastor Nelms Boson is the pastor. Thank you for being a guest today.
Thank you.
On our conversations. Now, your current single, tell me about it.
My faith and my fight. Wow.
Say that again. My faith.
My faith and my fight.
I love it. Tell me about it.
Yes. So right before the pandemic started, I was going through transition. My son was getting grown and coming out of college, and you started having that empty nesting, and you start to feel, okay, is this all there is for me? Church, Sunday, worship, doing what I do, HR, professional, different things. But then been doing music all my life. I grew up with a gospel community choir. My parents were president and leader of a gospel choir here in Houston. I traveled, went to GMWA. I was actually the 1990 GMWA debutante. So I've been around gospel all my life. Wrote gospel music, did it at Houston Mass. I was 17 years old, writing and doing it at Houston Mass. But then decided to take a break. And sometimes when you take a break, you think, okay, well, will I ever get back to that place where I can actually do it? 20 years. I took raise my son. So I was like, let me focus on family. Let me do family. And so right before that, I was like, okay, Lord, I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to bless those that I can bless from where I'm at and let you use me. And he looked in my prayer time and said, no, keep your faith in your fight. What I have for you and what I got in you, I got an audience for you. I got people that are waiting to hear what you have inside of you. And so because of that, that's where my faith and my fight came from.
Listen, you're talking my language. I often say, and people probably, when I say it, they're going to be like, yeah, he says that all the time. But I say there is an ordained audience for every gift.
Yes, it is.
There is an ordained audience for every gift. So you don't have to play or hate, be
That's
jealous
it.
of anybody. God
That's
has
it.
an ordained audience for you.
Exactly.
I'm curious, you said 20 years. Did you record music before that time, or the recording of the music came after?
Well, personally recording myself as an artist now, after.
Okay.
But I've been background, sung with Kathy Taylor Corliers in The Favor back in the day, background for Chastity T. Baldwin, background for V. Michael McKay, different Claudia Williams and Austin. So different various artists. I've participated in their recordings and being background for them, but never being the lead artist myself. And so this is my opportunity to come out, and I just felt like if it wasn't God-led, I wasn't going to do it.
Come on.
And when God said go, I was like, okay, time for me to do it.
So now, I'm curious. You was in the background. Mm-hmm. How was that move to the front? Were you nervous? Were you scared?
The only part that was different for me was standing, because I've always been the person that play and sing. I've always been the person that sit at the piano, play and sing, and write music and direct the choir and everything from the keyboard. Every now and then I would get up, but that wasn't my norm. My norm was at the Sunday leading worship from a keyboard. And so to stand and do in this new realm of artistry with track singing as opposed to singing with live music and a live band, that was an adjustment for me, because I'm so used to the authenticity of, hey, we on the spot. Wherever God goes, wherever the Spirit leads, that's where we go. And so being able to make that transition was an adjustment for me.
Now I'm curious though, was the piano kind of like a comfort zone?
Very much so. Oh yes, I write from the piano. God speaks to me from the piano. Everything is from the keys. Yes.
I was going to ask you too, what was one of the most unusual ways God has given you a song?
Oh wow. Unusual, normally just in my quiet time. I can be sitting and at home just doing home things, and all of a sudden he'd be like, go to the piano. And it comes. And normally what I do now is keep my phone close, because whatever he gives, I want it fresh. I don't want to have to remember what it was. I want to be able to have it fresh in the moment. So.
Now, I heard you mention V. Michael McKay and Kathy Taylor, but I was going to ask, are those some of your musical influences or musical inspirations?
Definitely. I started singing for Kathy Taylor when I was still a teenager.
And she's a singer.
Oh my God, yes. That alto and raspy and the anointing that flows through her when she is giving God her worship. I'm a big thing on, I'm not entertaining you. You're just listening in on what I'm giving God. And so with that being said, she's always led from that authentic place. And I've always wanted to do that. And that's why I wanted to be authentic whenever God said go.
That's good. Who's some of your other musical inspirations?
Being now First Lady and music, I have to say Karen Clark Sheard. I have to say Lisa Page Brooks. I mean, I'm always looking at people that are doing what I'm doing at that level, that you would like to be doing it, or I would like to be doing it. So those are two names that really stand out for me, that to me are always trying to be authentic and give God their best.
Gotcha. Now, I'm curious, have you merged some of your work as a licensed Christian counselor into your music ministry?
Actually, yes, and actually it wasn't planned. It just kind of happened. My Faith in My Fight came out, and because of women, dealing with so much, feeling like they have to be the everything, how do I get through it? Your Faith in Your Fight. Breast Cancer Month. A lot of people, My Faith in My Fight. The song just kind of speaks to whatever the situation is. And so I've been able to do conferences and women's conferences and things like that. However, I've always been an advocate, being someone that has been married before, presently, and also divorced. I also admonish women and talk to other women and counsel them that you can get through it. It's not the end all. It's not what all God has for you. It's just this too shall pass, and He's got something greater for you. So I speak that over anybody that may be listening, that God's got something greater for you. Just keep your faith in your fight and hang in there. It's coming.
So now you're on this side of the mic today,
Yes.
but you're also a talk show host. Tell me about that.
Yes. So ironically, the song, I had another song called I Win that was out, and being that there is an international women's organization that's global with Paula Fellingham all over Asia and everywhere, they sought me out looking and heard my song, I Win, and said, hey, we want your song to be our yearly chant for 2020, 2021. And when I did that, they started an information network channel with Roku, Prime, Amazon Prime. And so there's a channel there where we have 30-minute spots every week. And every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., I have a show called Treasures and Blessings, because we are all a treasure of God to be a blessing to somebody else.
I love that. And so we can just search it, Treasures and Blessings, or your name. And
my name, Treasures and Blessings, but mainly Win-Win Women. If you go to winwinwomen.tv and look on Channel 2, you'll find me there.
I love it.
Yes.
Now, you said you were a worship leader.
Yes.
I'm curious, because I've led worship, and God has just done interesting things. I want to know one of the most amazing ways that God manifests His presence while you were leading worship.
For me, I'll never forget one Sunday, my husband hadn't been pastoring long, but a gentleman came to church. And sometimes you think what you're doing is not an impact or it's not making a difference. And a person walked in and sat in church. He was a visitor, and we greeted him just as we would after church was over. And worship, it went forth, and it aligned. I try to always make sure that worship aligns with what he's preaching or what he's singing or singing about, to make sure it flows so the message is pure, authentic, and for the moment. And that Sunday, I said, God has smiled on you. Yeah. And He set you free, and He can set you free in this moment. Yeah. And that person had come to church with the mindset they were going to leave and kill themselves. And he said in that moment of us singing and worship and leading worship that he knew he could be set free and be made whole, and that God could come through and change his situation. Yeah. And he walked out of there and still a member at the church today. So I'm very, very grateful to know that He has that type of impact to use us as His vessels. It's not about us, not about my name, I could care less about any of that. All I'm worried about is that you see Jesus and know that you can have life after it, have it more abundantly.
So the word is true.
Yes.
Whom the Son sets free is free indeed.
Yes, for sure.
I love it. Sure. I love it. Do me a favor. Tell our listening audience how they can connect with you today, as well as how they can download your music.
Sure. So I'm on Facebook at Tina Nelms Boson Music. I'm also on Instagram at Tina_Boson. But I'm also part of an independent music label. My sister and I are partnered together. I'm the artist. She's the CEO and the business mind behind it. So it's Nelms Music Planet. So you can find us at nelmsmusicplanet.com. Yes.
Nelms.
Nelms.
Tina Nelms Boson. Thank you so very much for being a part of the conversation today.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Houston Gospel Conversations. We'll have more right after this.
Media personality Larry W. Robinson presents Gospel Updates. Gospel Updates is the who, what, when, why, and where in the gospel music industry. Gospel Updates is a monthly magazine, weekly newsletter, video webcast, as well as a podcast. Gospel Updates has over 25 years of featuring people in the gospel music community. Gospel Updates magazine and the new Gospel Updates weekly newsletter documents those who are continuing to help shape and write new chapters of this ever-evolving story of gospel. Go to www.gocc.com www.gospelupdates.com. That's www.gospelupdates.com to get the latest issues. If you want to be featured, call or text 337-214-4046 or email gospelupdates@gmail.com for rates and details. Gospel Updates, featuring people in the gospel community for over 25 years.